Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Rift's Dimension Book 14, the Thundercloud Galaxy. Now, when you talk about the three galaxies, Thundercloud's usually the last one. You know, Anvil, Corkscrew, Thundercloud. Why is that? Well, Thundercloud is the redheaded stepchild of the three galaxies. This one gets crapped on all the time, and I'm going to get in history right now, and you're gonna know why people don't want really to go there too much, because it is, I don't want to say Syria, but Detroit in the late 70s. Yeah, I'll go that far. It's not great, and we're gonna find out why. Let's see it. All right, and before I get into that, look underneath into our description below, and you'll see all this kind of stuff. You can give us money on Ko-Fi, Streamlabs, PayPal. You can do it through Twitch and YouTube, but they take a whole lot of money, so don't do that. Go the other ways if you can. If not, hey, dollar's dollar, right? It's all good. All right, so looking at the Thundercloud Galaxy, we are going to first go to the background, because this background is sorted and on the weird side.
Two quick questions for you. One,
Shoot.
This is part of Phase World, right?
This is in the same universe as Phase World, yes.
Okay, so it's in the same universe as Phase World, and you mentioned three galaxies. What are the names of the other three?
Corkscrew, Anvil, and Thundercloud.
Which one is the main center, whatever it is, Phase World? Okay, never mind.
Really, no main center. I mean, center is in one of them. I think it's in the Anvil.
The reason why I'm asking is because you said this is Syria. I was just going to ask for like a one-sentence description of the other two, just to kind of compare.
Corkscrew and Anvil are the normal places that you would be. You know, generally Asia, generally North America. You know, it's nice enough, civilized enough. There's the for the most part, there's the rule of law, all that stuff, and then you go to Thundercloud. It's the wild west of nonsense. It is just banana. You know, a whole banana cake. But to understand that, you have to understand how it started and became that. And that's what we're going to get into right now. In order to understand the current situation, got where it is today, you must first understand something of the history. Tens of thousands of years ago, long before the rise of humanity, Wolfen, Krigor, Noro, the three galaxies were peopled by the elder races. These species were so ancient and powerful as to be aptly described as deific. Now, elder races isn't like one or two different races. No, these are the races that came first. They're elder because they're older than anything that currently exists. So it could be a dozen different races, but they all came in around the same time, all of them before us. Therefore, they're elder races. Most of them have something in common. They're usually giants, but we're going to get into that. Their magics and technologies were one and the same, and their cultures dated back millions of years. They began one by one onslaught of one of their fellow elders. So terrible was their campaign of genocide that these elders would become known as the Dominators. Was that their real name? No. Was that what we call them from antiquity? Yeah. Like if your race name was, you know, the Joneses, but you were so horrible that generations ahead, after you're long dead and buried, people still remember you unfondly, and they call you the dipshits. That's your name now.
Well, that's what Joneses would mean. Like, don't be such a Jones, man.
Though few are aware of it today, the Dominator's home world was located near the center of the Thundercloud Galaxy. This is important.
Nothing ever good comes from the center of a galaxy.
Especially not the Thundercloud one, and we're going to get to why in a second. It was destroyed 50,000 years ago by a collective of the elder races who had banded together with the Cosmo Knights, the greatest OP thing in the three galaxies. Had to get with them to beat these guys and other heroes of the day to stop the Dominators. The weapon they used has since become a thing of legend and has never been created or used since. The legendary black hole projector caused an implosion in real space with an area effect 100 light years in diameter. It left a gigantic black hole equal to 170,000 average solar masses in its wake. An aftershock from the projector traveled through the galaxy, killing or, this is important, mutating almost every life form it washed over. emergent species, some of whom were just beginning to colonize other planets and travel out into space, had their evolution set back by eons. Bacteria and viruses changed by the blast front caused plagues that obliterated the population of entire worlds and caused civilizations to crumble and descend into anarchy. Other stars suffered from harmonic disruptions, became premature supernovae, detonating in vast clouds of plasma gas and radioactive energy. Moving from its point of origin at the center, at the near speed of light, the shockwave would take 15,000 years to traverse the entire galaxy before dissipating into the void. Oh my God. You thought Nagasaki was bad? No, that's chump change, man. Chump change. One bomb had adverse effects for an entire galaxy.
Okay, let backtrack for just a second. What was the name of this bomb again?
The black hole projector.
Okay, did they really think that
that it was going to be good? No, man, they knew it was going to be bad. The Dominators were such a threat that sacrificing large chunks of the galaxy they live in was considered an acceptable loss. That's how bad the Dominators were. Acceptable losses in this case was
it's a galaxy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Acceptable losses is all of them. I like that.
Now, for the next 35,000 years, remember, 50,000 years ago, they set off the projector, and it took 15,000 years for the mutating shockwave of death and destruction to cover the entire galaxy. For the next 35,000 years up to present day, the galaxy churned and tried to settle itself. Most intelligent life forms have been driven back to the Stone Age. The only new threat to rear its head during this time was the arrival of Splugorth Lord Desolith the Elder. Of course, whenever someone upturns an apple cart, who's going to come around and pick up all the pieces for their greedy little golem, my precious self? The damn Splugorth are going to come around.
Okay, sorry, but that's a very Sith name too, and it's dumb.
Desolith? Yeah. Or Desilith.
I'm telling you, George Lucas named half of the weird NPCs in Palladium.
That's probably fair. Although Desilith was far too old to retain direct control of his kingdom, his high lords began sending out minions to raid and conquer the indigenous populations of many worlds. Remember, the indigenous populations of all these worlds, if they were highly technical, they aren't now, which means they just lose. So it was picking all of the now low-hanging fruit. All the fruit was low-hanging. Desilith just picked it all. Now, it's said here, too old to retain direct control of his kingdom. We know, if you've read any of the books that mention Splugorth, or you've watched any of the videos I've done about Splugorth, they live from between 200 to 300,000 years. That's their lifespan. He's on the end of that. The far end. That's a long time being a Splugorth and surviving. So he's obviously good. And maybe he's also better lucky than good, because when he came to the Thundercloud Galaxy, it was probably a little bit of luck that he found it the way he did. By the time any species in the Corkscrew Galaxy began to study the heavens, all they saw in the Thundercloud was a hot, volatile region filled with bright protostars and vast nebulae. The reason they saw this is because by the time they got optical and radio and infrared, whatever X-ray telescopes that could see the galaxy in detail, all they saw was the after effects explosion. The entire center of the galaxy, where they made that giant black hole, everything around it, the stars exploded, turned to supernovae, and then they created nebulae and protostars and all that stuff. So the center of the galaxy looks brand new because it was wrecked and is starting over. According to legend, the Wolfen Republic of old had made some effort to colonize worlds within the Thundercloud. Others also looked at the galaxy and made small attempts to explore and colonize. However, it was the Great War that would change everything. This is the next part of the Thundercloud Galaxy.
Because destroying the galaxy once wasn't enough?
No, it wasn't. It destroyed. Well, it didn't destroy it. Wrecked it. It wrecked it. Wrecking the Thundercloud Galaxy was just the beginning. because now the elder races are gone or forgotten. And now the newer races, our races right now, see it and are like, oh, look at that. Brand new, fresh galaxy right there. We can get there now. We see it. It's got all kinds of new stars, all kinds of good stuff. Might have a whole lot of resources. Let's go check it out. When they get there, they realize, oh no, this was somebody else's house that was wrecked and they just left. And now it's our condemned property.
Hey, squatters' rights.
Squatters' rights, but I don't want to squat in Syria, so I'm good. Anyway, the TGE, the Transgalactic Empire, for those of you who don't know, think of the Krigor, which is the head of the Transgalactic Empire, as Klingon Romulan hybrids. They're very strong, very big, very tough, very much like Klingons, but they hate in such a way that it's pure and focused like a Romulan. So that's what they are. Let's see what they do. Together with a dark tribe of Wolfen, moved to conquer the remaining part of the Wolfen Empire. It was not long before the war spread throughout the entirety of the 3 galaxies. In response to helping the Wolfen Republic, the Transgalactic Empire and its allies declared war on the Noro and the Human Alliance. So a faction of the Wolfen, who were the old ways, the conqueror ways, teamed up with the Krigor in the Transgalactic Empire to take over all of known civilization. Well, guess what? They didn't make it, because their wanton aggression made all of the other spacefaring empires band together into the consortium of civilized worlds. They actually created their own opposition, and the consortium won the fight. The Krigor had to give up, and they had to give up a lot.
Were they really civilized, though? I mean, this is the Thundercloud Galaxy.
Well, hang on. They had to give up a lot. And what the final peace treaty came to the Tanit Agreement. And this meant that everything agreed to armistice and applied, blah, blah. The Transgalactic Empire would immediately and unconditionally surrender anything they have in one arm, the Oswell arm of the Thundercloud Galaxy, and a demilitarized zone with the diameter of 3,500 light years would relinquish control any and all former Thundercloud colonies to the consortium and could never again occupy said colonies. So anything they got, they had to give up to the CCW, and they could never, ever get them again, or else it would be war. The use of weapons of mass destruction would no longer be used by either party within the atmosphere of a planet inhabited by intelligent life forms.
Right.
Belonging to the opposite party. So you could bomb yourself if you want. You could bomb your own stuff. That's great, right? Good stuff. And there's a whole bunch of other stuff, but what happened about that? Well, here's what happened about that. The Krigor were like, okay, you know what? Fine, whatever. I have an idea. The Krigor decided, well, we can't have the colonies that we took originally. We had to give them back. And we can never try to have them again. But nobody said anything about conquering colonies that are conquered by somebody else. Say, I don't know, a really old Splugorth. So the Transgalactic Empire decided they were going to circumvent the law by not only gaining more colonies by fighting the Splugorth, which no one is going to say boo-hoo anything about. No one likes the Splugorth. If we're attacking the Splugorth, no one's going to stop us, and they were right. The CCW's like, they're attacking Splugorth? Pff, let them. But here's the rub. They were getting so much stronger, so much faster, because life under the Splugorth is hell. Life under a Klingon-Romulan hybrid is bad. But compared to hell, bad seems good. So they're conquering Splugorth slave worlds, freeing them from Splugorth control, absorbing them into the Transgalactic Empire, and it's so much better in comparison that they are loyal servants to the Empire, and they have a turnkey industrial system already set up.
Will they also get Splugorth tech?
Yeah. Anything the Splugorth left behind or couldn't destroy or was taken from them. Yeah. So these are gold mines. You don't have to spend decades bringing a colony planet up to snuff. No, The day after you win, you have a colony that you just got to patch up and turn the key on, and boom, you're making ships, you're making weapons, you're making armor, you're making food, whatever. So every planet the TGE took from the Splugorth was a planet ready to go. And then the CCW understood what was happening. Oh man, we're in trouble. Because when we make a colony, it's always not on a planet that had a population already, not on a planet that had sentient life. It's a brand new pristine planet. It takes decades, maybe like several decades, to bring that planet to where it's functioning in a way that is helping the community. But the Krigor can do it right away. So how did they fix that? Well, the CCW created the company, the Thundercloud Development Company. This company, with representatives from everyone in the CCW that wanted to be there, was in charge of rapid colonization of the Thundercloud Galaxy in defense of the Krigor rapid, I don't know if you call it colonization, but
annexation
of Splugorth colony worlds. So that's what they did. Dumped a whole bunch of money into it and started churning out new colonies left and right. Let me go on. And here's the official scramble started with a settling of 50 new planets in the Galera arm. We're going to see a picture of the Thundercloud Galaxy. It's a galaxy with two arms, the Galera arm and the Oswo arm. Each world colonized gained instant recognition as a member of the CCW. That's part of the thing about the company, the Thundercloud Development Company. Anything that they develop is immediately a member of the CCW. No option. Their strategy was to extend and reach the influence of the consortium one world at a time, so each of these new planets became filled with as many as 4 million colonists apiece. Once they arrived, the company helped them build roadways, spaceports, erect housing, and establish infrastructure before moving on to the next world. The thing is, this was getting too time consuming. It wasn't happening fast enough because the Krigor were, every time they got a colony, boom, it was ready. Couple of weeks, patch up some holes, boom, fully functioning colony. They've already moved on to conquering the next one. I'm sorry, liberating the next one. So what was going to happen? Well, just like the Krigor thought, they were gaining ground in the Thundercloud Galaxy much faster than the CCW. And it was hard to get public support to stop the Krigor from doing this because they're fighting the Splugorth. It's the lesser of two evils type thing. So they had to figure out a way to colonize faster. And one of the things that happened was in the Thundercloud Galaxy, they found a mineral called killerite. Now, if you imagine it's got kill in the word, what does it do? Well, it explodes. It makes big, big booms.
But it's kill, all right?
Yeah, it's kill, all right? Yeah, there you go. That's exactly right. So what happened was the Naruni Enterprises got into the colonization trade. Hey, you know what? We're a super rich, multi-quadrillion dollar company. So we will assist you, the Thundercloud Company, in bringing new colony worlds online faster if Naruni gets sole mining rights to killerite and killerite adjacent minerals. And
real quickly, who are the Naruni again?
The Naruni are a weapons manufacturing company.
Okay.
So they want big boom boom stuff. Now, the CCW, acting out of fear of the Empire, said yes. And they got a giant boost in funds, and they were able to colonize much faster. Let's see how fast they were. For nearly 4 centuries now, Naruni Enterprises has offered enormous cash incentives to anyone willing to go prospecting on unexplored alien worlds across the Thundercloud Galaxy. This has encouraged millions of people from the Anvil and Corkscrew to flock to the Thundercloud Galaxy to find killerite. Even if you find a small vein of killerite, you're set for life. That the finder's fee will earn you millions upon millions of credits. You're set. One small vein, you're set. If you find a large mineral deposit on an empty planet, oh my God, you can buy your own planet somewhere else with that kind of money. It's crazy. So everyone was trying to do it. And the colonization program went leaps and bounds ahead of what it was before. Instead of doing one at a time, they were doing 20 at a time. But as fast as that was, it wasn't fast enough to really overtake the Krigor Empire.
Okay, before you go on, I have a small problem with this. Only probably just a misunderstanding.
Okay.
They're fast. The Krieger Empires, probably. I've never in my entire life of listening to people talk about rifts have found the Splugorth to be this vulnerable.
Okay. The reason this Splugorth was this vulnerable is because he's old and he's getting senile. He's losing touch. His minions were good enough to keep the status quo, but not good enough for the high-level general thinking of tactical, large-scale combat of a siege of an empire. They're not good at this. And Splugorth hates sharing power, so even though he's old and decrepit, he still won't share power in a way that will make his holdings defensible.
Okay.
And we're going to get into percentages later on, how much he gained, how much he lost, stuff like that. After the discovery of Killerite in the Thundercloud Galaxy, Kestrel Hobbs, the head of the company, died. His successor, Antoinette Mason, took the opportunity to enact a shift in the Thundercloud company policy. And this is another fear-based decision. This is when the consortium of civilized worlds becomes uncivilized. This is when they make a mistake. Here it is. The company would establish a greater number of much smaller colonies in an effort to claim more worlds for the CCW. Moreover, it was decided that those select few people in charge, the company's CEO, Grand Admiral of the Task Force, heads of the consortium authority, that the civilization compact, as it has been practiced, was insufficient for the current political landscape. Now, remember, before, if there was an intelligent, sentient race there, you couldn't claim it. As a colony, you couldn't do it. Well, they're changing the way that law is meant to read. Now you can, but you just can't adversely harm them. But you can claim their planet as your own, as long as they're not a spacefaring species.
So no more first contact rules. Now it's like, hey, we're coming on in and welcome aboard.
Yeah, welcome aboard. That's it. It's basically slavery light. But they rationalized it because they're afraid of the Krigor. So yeah, it was reinterpreted. The Freedom from Conquest Clause had guaranteed that worlds inhabited by indigenous world life would be free from hostile takeover and off the table for colonization or development by the CCW. This rule was created to allow these civilizations to grow and develop on their own. When they became capable of space travel, only then would they invite the young race to become a member, engage in trade, whatever. This has limited colonization. Mason, the new CEO of the company, and many others argued that the TGE was absorbing former Splugorthian slave worlds with established civilizations and industry and transforming them into staunch supporters. If the CCW did not try to influence the cultural development of people on their planets within the Thundercloud, regardless of whether or not they were ready, then the TGE would become the greatest power in that galaxy. Furthermore, what was going to stop the Krieger from eventually conquering those indigenous people when they were done with Splugorth worlds? Remember, the Krieger were not allowed to conquer any colony they had already conquered. But if no one has conquered this ever, the Krieger could come in and just take it, and it's not against the armistice. So, acting out of all of this condensed fear, they changed the law. Reinterpreted the law to where now slavery light is okay. Okay. That's great. So what does that do today? We'll find out. Despite its altruistic intentions, the CCW's plan to create a better, more peaceful and tolerant. See, this is like a socialist nonsense dog whistle. Whenever someone who's doing the wrong thing for what they think is the right reason, they will say a more peaceful and tolerant civilization. They'll say stuff like that. That means they're taking over, but trying to make you feel good about it. That's all it means. And that's
for the
exactly
betterment
what
of everybody.
Yeah, that's exactly what they did. Imposing one's own beliefs upon another people is seldom the blueprint for lasting success, and it's certainly not the enlightened approach for peace the CCW had previously envisioned when it started this nonsense. Still, they press forward, feebly trying to impose their culture, ethics, and sensibilities of the CCW on these alien civilizations who don't want them there. So that's where we are now. And I'm going to see, we get the, where is,
So it sounds like the Krieger have it right.
there it is. There it is. Here's the Thundercloud Galaxy. Okay, these Krish clouds or Krishe or there's an accent in there somewhere, I forget. This is all of the protostars and nebulae left over from the explosion that came out in the center here from the black hole that's in the center. All of this was remnants of former systems that exploded. And then these are the two arms, the Galera arm on top and the Oswos arm on the bottom. And you can see this is CCW territory. This is CCW territory. This is the Transgalactic Empire. And this is the Splugorth, what's left of the Splugorth right here. The Splugorth used to have all of this. And
What's that little jagged area right direct south?
This part, the FWC, I forget.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Okay.
It's free, I don't know. Free something. So someone in chat may know. But this is where we stand now. All right, now, in the next video, we're going to get into the people or beings of the Thundercloud Galaxy, and they have been a Free World Council. Thank you, Polyrobox. Free World Council, just another power, kind of like a loose confederation of smaller powers than the CCW and the TGE and the Splugorth. But anyway, the life forms in the Thundercloud Galaxy were mostly adversely affected by the enactment of the black hole projector. The one thing that happened was MRADs, magical radiation. Now remember, the elder races were so advanced in technology and magic that both of them could be the same thing. So their giant black hole projector was also based on magic as much as technology, and it created magical radiation that flowed over 15,000 years over the entire galaxy, destroying civilizations or changing them.
So Genesis magic.
Basically, yes. Yes, Star Trek II, Wrath of Khan, Genesis magic. Yes. That's excellent analogy. I like that. That's good. So we're going to go over that in the next video. So what do we have for Star Trek?
I only started one.
That's fine.
And I feel attacked on this one, so I'll let you answer first. But he says, am I the only one that wants a Mutants in Orbit revision? Ideally, I'd prefer a standalone Rifts book with no After the Bomb content.
I ideally would like that too, because I don't like super hard rules for anthropomorphic animals, but Mutants in Orbit necessitates anthropomorphic animals. So I wouldn't want either one. But I understand your aversion to the new After the Bomb. Especially the introduction to the new After the Bomb sucks butt. But the old After the Bomb is a better backstory.
As the person who actually did the Mutants in Orbit overview, I think you both can die in a fire.
There you go. He loves them animals. He loves animals like a walkie-talkie.
But the Mutants in Orbit side was the better side anyway. The Rift side was just equipment.
Yep. No, you're not wrong.
So as the book was written, Now, maybe, you know, putting more history or whatever in the Rift side of it, sure. But the Mutants in Orbit book, the After the Bomb side was 10 times better than the Rift side of the book. And that's not me
Well,
being a Rift hater. I'm not a Rift hater.
had
I'm
10
just saying,
times had 10 times more information and stuff.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It was just basically equipment for the Rift
For the
side.
Rift
But
part, yeah, it was basically equipment. You're right.
that's the only one I starred because I felt personally attacked on that one.
That's fine.
And Chris Preacherman, if that was you that sent me that message, I kind of commented on it a little bit ago. There's nothing for me to. There's nothing for me to send. I know that was sent as maybe it was just sent as a hello or something. But if it was related to, hey, get a gift, then that's either you already got it or it's long since gone. So, but,
all right, throw up that subscribe button.
Yeah. Boom, there we go.
There you go. Please subscribe and check out all of our links in the description below, especially the Wounded Warrior Project. If you don't want to give money to us, well, I don't like you anymore. But hey, you know what? You want the world to like you.
Charity.
Yeah, there's a good charity you can give to. The Wounded Warrior Project is not going to squander your funds. It's going to go to people who deserve, by any metric you naysayers might want, a little helping hand. So check that out. Until then, we'll see you next time.